When you read through the Bible, there are some images that just stop you in your tracks. And this one, it's right up there at the top of the list. We're talking about a single verse that paints this picture of a creature that's, well, it's a total contradiction. It's a real puzzle of appearance versus reality, and today, we're going to unpack it. So here it is, straight from Revelation 13, verse 11. Just let that sink in for a second. The imagery is just, wow. You've got horns like a lamb, but then it speaks like a dragon. That is such a deliberate clash, right? It's not an accident. It's meant to be jarring, meant to make you stop and think and ask a really, really important question. And that's the big question, isn't it? The one we're really diving into. How on earth can these two complete opposites exist in the same being? What this verse is getting at, it's all about symbolism. It's describing a kind of power that is fundamentally built on deception. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to look at this core contradiction, then we'll decode the original Greek words, which is super important. We'll explore what's behind the lamb's mask and the dragon's voice, and then finally, we'll get into this idea of an unholy alliance. So, first up, the contradiction itself. The whole point of this bizarre image is conflict. It's a visual metaphor for a power that looks one way, but is secretly something else completely. And this isn't just any small-time trickery. It's a warning about deception on a huge, world-altering scale. Okay, to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to look at the source code, so to speak, the original Greek. The specific words that John used here, they are not random at all. They are absolutely loaded with symbolic meaning.
So, let's start with the word for beast, therion. Now, this doesn't just mean any old animal. In books like Revelation and Daniel, this word is a code word, really. It refers to a hostile anti-God power, a system. So right off the bat, we know we're not talking about a literal monster from a movie. We're talking about a symbolic, systematic force.
Next up, we have karata, which means horns. And this is a classic biblical symbol. If you see horns in this context, it pretty much always means one thing: power, authority, sometimes even entire kingdoms. So point is, this beast has some serious power.
And here's where it gets really, really specific. The word used for lamb is arneo. Now get this. This isn't just any generic word for a lamb. It's the exact same word that's used to describe Jesus as the Lamb of God. What does that tell you? It means this beast isn't just trying to look innocent, it is actively, deliberately mimicking the appearance of Christ himself.
But then there's the voice. Its speech comes from the dragon, the dragon. And in the book of Revelation, there's no mystery about who the dragon is. It's flat out identified as Satan, the ultimate source of all evil, all lies, and all rebellion.
So, okay, let's put all those pieces together. The language paints this incredibly specific picture, doesn't it? You've got an antagonistic system that wields power by adopting a Christ-like appearance, but its message, its core identity, comes directly from the source of pure evil.
All right, let's focus on the first part of this paradox, the lamb's mask. What does it actually mean for this power to put on this deceptive appearance?
See, this whole thing really comes down to a conflict between two faces. You have the external appearance, that's the mask, and then you have the internal reality, which is revealed by the voice. One is a clever disguise, the other is the ugly truth.
And that lamb's mask, it's the perfect disguise, right? It projects innocence, meekness, holiness, all the things you'd associate with good. This power, it uses religious-sounding words, it imitates Christ's style, all to get people to trust it because it seems so harmless and righteous. But it's all a counterfeit, a total fake.
But, a mask can only hide so much. The second this beast opens its mouth to speak, boom, the whole disguise just falls apart. Its voice gives the game away, revealing where it really comes from.
So what does the dragon's voice sound like? Well, it speaks with this counterfeit authority. Its words are designed to deceive, to twist the truth, and to push people towards rebellion against God. In fact, our sources point out that this is the very same kind of lie you heard from the serpent back in the Garden of Eden. Its doctrine, its core message is not from heaven, it is from hell.
Okay, so we've got the deceptive mask and the voice that reveals the truth. But what about those two horns? What are they all about? Well, they represent how this power actually operates in the world. It's the mechanism, the engine of its influence.
And the fact that there are two horns is super important. It's not an accident. It signifies two separate sources of strength, two pillars of authority that are working together as a single unified force. So this unified power is built on a two-part alliance. The first horn represents political power, worldly systems, civil governments. The sources actually give an example.
Think about how Pilate and Herod, who were enemies, suddenly became partners to condemn Jesus. The second horn, that's the religious one, a compromised religious system that claims to represent God, but in reality has rejected his truth. And when those two join forces, they create this incredibly powerful, super deceptive authority that looks righteous on the outside, but is secretly serving the dragon.
And this quote from our source material just nails it, doesn't it? It wears religion like a mask, but carries the voice of rebellion. That's the whole strategy in a nutshell. Use the costume of religion to push an agenda of rebellion. It is the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing. You know, this ancient vision leaves us with a very, very modern problem. How do we tell the difference between the real thing and the counterfeit? Our source suggests a pretty simple test you can apply to any authority, whether it's religious or political. Ask yourself this. Does it lead people toward the cross, towards selfless truth, or does it crucify the truth just to preserve its own power? That question, that's really at the very heart of this mystery of the Lamb that speaks like a dragon.